3 up, 2 across, tap that play button 3 times, and walk through the archway into Dialogue Alley. Hello and welcome to Dialogue Alley, the official Potter Collector podcast about Harry Potter books, book translations, and all other things magical, including dramatized audiobooks. I'm Erik.
I'm Melanie.
And we are here to talk about the dramatized audiobook from Audible. It just came out, and we wanted to talk all about it. But if you're new to our podcast, that's not all we talk about. Melanie and I are book collectors. We collect Harry Potter books in different languages from all around the world, as do Carly and Peter. But they are not joining us today because Melanie and I are the first two to finish the audiobook, and we needed to get this episode out this week on time.
That's right. We have a lot to talk about. This is like the biggest Harry Potter news I feel like we've had in such a long time. So we had to get this episode out because we had to talk about our impressions of the book, and we've got a lot to say.
We do. So not a typical episode format here because really we want to just talk about the audiobook. There's so much to unpack here. But I guess if we want to talk about some news, I got the Polish books, Melanie, with the new cover. They're at my house. I have to send one to you and Carly. But they're really great. I'm not going to lie. So I can't wait for you to get yours, and then we can have that as our translation of the show in a future episode.
Sounds great. I'm ready.
Sounds great. But I'm also ready to talk about this new audiobook because it is outstanding. So let's just get right to it.
So I think the first thing that we need to mention is, these, the first audiobook, Audible is releasing one a month. So book one was released for November, then December is going to be Chamber, January, February, so on. They're going to do it for the next consecutive 7 months. And before this book was released, it was released November 4th was when it became available for download on Audible. On November 3rd, there was like an Audible preview event for it, which was so well done and well organized. Peter said there was like hundreds of thousands of people that tuned into it, which was absolutely the coolest thing ever. I think just so many people are like having Harry Potter reawoken for them by having this format. And I think that that's one of like the things I'll delve into about these audiobooks is that these kind of feel like a completely different medium in which to experience Harry Potter. Like, to me, it feels like the dramatized versions are a separate entity from the regular audiobooks.
Oh, I agree. It's
yeah.
Like, as I just said, this was the first like fully dramatized audiobook I'd listened to, and that was really emphasized that it's different than the regular audiobook in that preview event on the 3rd with it was a live stream hosted by Peter and Adriana from Bibbidi Bobbidi Broke, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And they had a behind the scenes video of the cast doing a recording, which you can find online now. It's available to find. You can find it on YouTube. And it really just goes into the production of this dramatized audiobook in terms of like the casting. They talked a lot about being intentional with the cast from books 1 through 3, like the Golden Trio or anyone that's like a kid. They have one voice actor for the first 3 books and then an older version of that character for the remaining 4 books. And they even made a point that the older voice actors sat in when the younger ones were doing their recording so they can kind of get on the same page of how their character reacts in certain situations and certain like quirks or nuances. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so awesome to me. Like it really is meant to be just this fully immersive, comprehensible way to experience this universe in a new style, and that's just super exciting.
Yeah, I think what's so cool is there's so much talk right now about the HBO show and that being a completely different medium to experience Potter. And we talk all the time. Like, Erik and I feel like, are book people first, and experiencing the books is our m- choice medium for experiencing the books. I listen to the audiobooks almost solely, like I'll only listen to the audiobooks. So having the dramatized versions now feels like a separate medium, and it feels like something that you can't compare to the original books. Nothing will ever compare to Jim Dale. He's unbelievable. That's what we grew up with. And Stephen Fry is amazing too. Like, those audiobook experiences for Harry Potter are wonderful. And what Erik and I were talking about before we started recording was, like, because of the dramatized books having different characters or different actors playing each character, there are things that we felt we picked up on in listening to it with different characters and different actors that we didn't typically pick up on with Jim Dale. And I almost felt like I was listening to a completely new book, even though I've listened to the Harry Potter books countless times at this point. This was a completely new experience, and I felt like I was listening to the books in a completely different way. And I don't know if this happened to you also, but like, I picture the Harry Potter books one way when listening to it with Jim Dale, and I pictured it completely differently in my head listening to these dramatized audiobooks. I pictured the characters very differently. I pictured certain scenes differently. Um and I thought that that was just so cool that you could hear the same words but portrayed in a different way, and it painted a different picture in my brain. Like, it was just such a cool experience listening to these.
Yeah, I agree.
This.
And especially because I mean there's background music, there's sound
Mhm.
effects, there are like stereo effects where sometimes one character's talking in your right ear if you have headphones, or in my case my car. So I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, someone's talking, but they're way over there. And then you have, characters talking in your left ear. They have times where maybe there's like some muffled voices, like their mouth is covered with something, and it actually sounds like their mouth is covered by something.
Yeah.
Um,
Or they
it's
sound far
just,
away, or
yeah,
you have the way that they do, like, the Weasley twins, like, they're talking at the same time, which that is so cool. Um Like, I know for me, and listening to it, like, I have had a few, like, favorite parts so far that were so stand out just because of the sound effects and the way that it was directed. Um, I loved Harry and Ron on the train because probably for the entire duration of that scene, you hear the sound of the train in the
you hear the
background,
train.
which I
Yeah,
think,
yep.
oh, it was so good. That was amazing. And then the Quidditch matches were unbelievable, like, so stand out. Just hearing the cheering in the background and all of the sound effects, the brooms whooshing by, like, it was just so well done. And the way that they edited the sound mixing was just amazing. You hear it going all the way around you. Um, it was just unbelievable. And I think another one of the things that we should talk about is, like, the fact that this is the first time that we've had a female narrator. So having her has been absolutely unbelievable. And it almost like these books were written by a woman. So hearing these books told to us through a woman's voice, I think, is really interesting.
Yeah, well, and other moments where anytime they're in the Great Hall eating, you can hear like dull chatter in the background and like glasses clinking and silverware, you know,
Mm-hmm.
on
Or
the
like the
plates and stuff. Like,
occasional owl, like, flying by,
yeah,
like little things like that.
yeah, and that just really makes it seem more alive. And like you said, it was a way that I had all of these things in my brain when Jim Dale was doing the reading. But now that it's this full voice cast, I picture scenes happening in a completely different way because of those
Mm-hmm.
background noises or the sound effects that they include. So to me it's a separate entity, and it really just makes it that much more alive. Really, like, it's cool. Like, I look forward to like listening to it, which is awesome.
Yeah, I fortunately the baby loved listening to it with me. He was like so relaxed by it. So anytime I had him in the car, I was able to listen to it. My daughter loved listening to it also, which was great. Um, and also for me, like her seeming to enjoy it is so nostalgic for me because I experienced Harry Potter for the first time through audiobooks. My mom borrowed the cassettes from the library, and that was how I listened to Harry Potter books. So love I love the fact that I've been able to experience this in a completely different way. I've been so into it and I can't wait to get into my car to listen to it. And yeah, like the picturing things in different ways. Like for me, the scene where they all get into the boats and go across the lake to Hogwarts and see Hogwarts for the first time, I pictured that completely differently from
Yeah, I did
how I
too.
had the first time. Um that was one of them. And then another one was the Forbidden Forest scene with the centaurs. Like that I pictured so differently, which I thought was awesome. Like I didn't want to stop. I was like, please let me hit more red lights and some traffic so I could just keep listening to these books. It's so good. I
Um,
also think one of the genius things on Audible's part is the fact that because they're coming out with like one book a month, these books are like relatively short. I think the first book is only 8 hours.
yeah, I was
Um,
surprised by the runtime. It was very similar to the Jim Dale version, like in
yeah,
terms of runtime. I think that one is like a little over 6 hours, maybe.
yeah,
But
yeah.
even
But this
so,
was
like
like
this,
not bad. 8 hours
not
is
bad.
so short for an audiobook.
Yeah,
But what's so smart about it is okay, so we're coming out with one a month. We know kind of what the runtime is going to be. The first thing I did after I downloaded that book was I updated my Audible subscription. So now I get 2 credits a month because I know I'm going to have the next 7 months are committed to getting one Harry Potter book a month. And I listen to at least like two books a month anyway, or I go back and forth between like a book and a podcast, whatever it may be. But I like listening to books so much. So I upgraded my Audible account, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that did that for the foreseeable future. So well done on Audible. They got me.
they did. Well, I didn't have an Audible account, and if you also don't have one, you can get a 3 month trial for like 99 cents a month for the first 3 months.
Well, that's
So
great.
that's what I signed up for. So I only get one credit, but I listen to most of my audiobooks on like Libby through my library anyway.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm getting the first three books for $1 each, and then paying whatever the Audible fee is for the rest of them. And I'm probably not going to keep Audible after that because I just use the library. So I'm going to end up only having to pay for 4 months of Audible at full price, which honestly, if you were to buy these books, or like when the first audiobooks came out, they were expensive. They were like 40, 50, $60 depending
Yeah.
on which book. So either way, it's going to be cheaper to get them on Audible and just have them downloaded and cancel my subscription after the 7 month period is over. So I felt good about that in terms of I'm not just gonna have to keep Audible and hope that they release a book next month. It's like it's a guaranteed, like it's going to be this
Yeah.
month, next month, next month. They're done recording. It's not like they're still recording. All 7 books are done. So I know that I'm paying for Audible for 7 months and then I'm stopping. So I think that's really smart on their end. They could have easily just dangled the carrot in front of us, like, hey, like book 4 is coming out soon in the next couple months. We don't know when, and then you have to like keep your Audible subscription even if you're not really loving
Yeah.
it. So they could have done that, and they didn't, which I really appreciate. It actually seems like a pretty like consumer first model for releasing these, which I like and I
Which is
appreciate,
nice.
especially because we've all paid for these books multiple times in
A
multiple
lot
different
of
formats,
lots of times.
lots of times.
Lots and lots of times. Um Yeah, I think just the way that they kind of went about everything was just very company smart and doing it where obviously the company can make money, but in addition, they're like looking out for their customers and whatnot too, which I think is absolutely awesome. Um what has been like one of your favorite parts of listening to these so far?
Um, I mean, probably hearing, and like this is like very not a big deal, but in the Jim Dale version, Jim Dale's a guy, and he does his best with all the voices, but and honestly, and by doing his best, he does an outstanding job with all the voices, whether it's
Oh, amazing.
a man or a woman or a magical creature or a goblin, right? Like, he does outstanding. But having this fully voiced cast, especially with the Hermione actor that's going to be in the HBO show, just having that dynamic just makes it seem more like a real situation that you're encountering. And I think my favorite voices from this is the Peeves voice. I think that's outstanding
Oh, so well
because
done.
it's such a different approach than Jim Dale took. Like, Peeves here is just kind of more of a zany, like, woohoo kind of guy. Like, I don't know, and just the way the effects kind of go around, the stereo effects. It's like he's floating around the characters. I think that is just so cool.
Like you hear
And
him doing raspberries. Like I think that that's
yeah,
so funny.
yeah, I do. And just having the just the diversity of the voice actors, I think really helps a lot. It showcases that, there's just more than just people in this magical world.
Hmm.
Like, the centaur voices I thought were outstanding. The Sorting Hat, well, not a song. I'm confused by that. When
Debatable.
we went to that preview event, and that was one of the scenes we listened to, and everyone's like, I can't believe we heard the song, and it was such a different song. And I'm like, it wasn't a song. It was
It was
it
like a
was
rap.
it was like a spoken rap, which, whatever, it's fine. But just having those different voices for those, like, inanimate objects too, like the hat, right? It's just cool. It just brought so much richness to the entire experience.
Hmm.
Additionally, I think the Dursleys and Dudley and his friend, like, when Dudley was fake crying and stuff, like, I got, like, physically uncomfortable. Like, what a
Yeah.
jerk. Like, that kid, like, what a stinker. Um,
Ah,
which is great, because that means, like, the acting was done really well. Like, I
yeah.
felt emotions, right? And I've read
Hmm.
this book, I don't know, 30, 40 times, 50 times maybe. I don't even know. I can't keep track anymore. And I'm feeling like new emotions
Yeah.
listening to it again. So I don't know. What were
It
some
is.
of your standout voices
Um,
or moments?
I am like so heavily obsessed with Hugh Laurie's Dumbledore. I think that it is so iconic. His voice is just so whimsical and he's so playful and brings so much life to Dumbledore's character. I feel like what we have so far as um I feel like the closest comparison would be the movie, right, to this
Yeah.
because um eh, this is essentially a movie with your eyes closed, but I just feel like Hugh Laurie's Dumbledore brings like that whimsy and youth that I feel like Richard Harris like might have been missing a little bit, but that's okay. Like I still love Richard Harris's Dumbledore. But oh my gosh, I just absolutely loved listening to every Dumbledore scene. The Mirror of Erised scene was just so beautiful with him, and like you could just picture him like, oh, he's just sitting like on a desk like waiting for Harry to come in, and then he scoops down, like sits on the floor with him, and they're just sitting together talking about the mirror. Like it was just so beautiful. And I loved the youth that Hugh Laurie brought to it. That was one of my favorite parts. I love Hermione. I love listening to her. I think that we are in for such a treat watching this HBO show. It's just she's so brilliantly cast. And I feel like listening to the audiobooks is like getting a sneak peek to what we're going to have in store for us. She just was absolutely unbelievable listening to this book. Um, and I'm trying to think what else. I mean, I keep going back to the Forbidden Forest scene, obviously, because it's like very fresh in my brain and like because I literally just like got through these, but um I remember like listening to the audiobooks years ago, one of my read throughs, and there being like this part where I was like, oh my God, they're like foreshadowing like all the way to book 7 in this scene.
Yeah.
And I never could like pinpoint what the part was where I remembered that. And I had listened to it several times after, and I was like, what was I thinking of where they're foreshadowing it? And I picked up on it in listening to this when like Ron, they're giving Ron like a recap of their experience at detention in the Forbidden Forest, and like Harry says something along the lines of like, Bane thought that Firenze should have let Voldemort kill me. Maybe he should have, like, he said it was like written in the stars that Voldemort should have killed me. And like, it is written in the stars that Voldemort's going to kill him, you know, and it alludes to the prophecy in book 5, and it alludes all the way to the end of the series that Voldemort has to kill Harry in order for Voldemort to be defeated. Like, the fact
I
that
thought
like
of that too. And it takes place in the forest, like in the same spot that like they're discussing that in book 1.
Which is crazy, so crazy because that's where it happens. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
that was so cool. Like, obviously there are Easter eggs and breadcrumbs, whatever, spread throughout the series, and little things that you pick up on. And as someone that's listened to the whole series and read through the books so many times, like, we pick up on all of these things, right? But like this, it makes it so much clearer. It's like we're seeing it with like magnifying glasses because of the way that the voices are all highlighting every single detail so far. Like Harry saying about Snape, like, oh, he gave me the impression that he could read minds. Like, that's because he can, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I know that that's something that's spoken about, like, in almost every book. Harry was like, oh, this wasn't the first time that he got the impression that Snape could read his mind. Like, there are just little things, and that goes back to, like, J.K. Rowling's writing style and just how she does stuff like that, and how she had things kind of figured out from the very beginning. But it's just, it really highlights everything in this dramatized version. I just feel like there are so many details and things that are in the books that you might brush over because you're reading it too quickly, or you might be listening to the audiobook by Jim Dale and not necessarily hear the different nuances by different characters saying different things. And because of the way that these dramatized books are put out, like, you don't miss anything, which is just awesome.
Yeah, and we were talking before we started recording. It made me think about just plot points that I didn't think about before, and I'm not sure why that was. Like, was it just because the way the actors were talking, or like, and these aren't necessarily like plot holes, but like the first one I was thinking of was like, what happened to like Petunia and Lily's parents? Like, did they die super young? Because why couldn't Harry just go to their house to live? Because they clearly liked Lily, so why couldn't they go there? And they never tell us. I don't think we ever know. Or like, James's parents are dead too. Like that means they had to have died when they were like in their 50s. Like, both grandparents. Like,
Yeah.
We don't know what happened there.
You know what? That's another really good point too. Like, just talking about like their ages and whatnot. Like, because we have these different actors, I feel like the ages are portrayed a lot more accurately. And I loved that McGonagall and Snape sounded young. Like, McGonagall sounded probably like she was more so in like her 40s or 50s rather than like this older woman. And I'm not saying that like Maggie Smith wasn't like the perfect McGonagall, because I firmly believe that she was beyond
She was fantastic.
perfection. But McGonagall is supposed to be younger. Like, she's supposed to be like this younger woman. And Snape especially. Snape is only supposed to be in like his 30s. Like,
Right. He's the same age
so
as Harry's dad would have
exactly.
been, right?
So exactly.
And
So he's
Lupin and
supposed to be.
Sirius Black, like they're like my age. I'm
Yeah, I
36.
know. I know. That's what's crazy. So like that's why listening to this Snape that's in the dramatized audiobooks has been so cool, because you have just this young bitter guy, and not for nothing, like, okay, we're in our 30s, like I still have grudges about people from high school. Like I feel like you still hold on to stuff like that because it was more recent. So it almost seems like a bit more ridiculous for Snape to hold on to a grudge when Snape in the movies is portrayed to be so much older. So that I absolutely loved. I loved that it was like a young male voice. And it almost seemed like an older brother, like picking on a younger brother sort of thing. He was like, oh, I'm taking X amount of points away from you now just because I don't like you because your dad was a bully. Like it was just, that was something that I absolutely loved. That was very, very standout. The fact that they cast someone so young for Snape. I loved it.
Yeah, that's really great. Something just plot wise I also picked up on, and I don't know if this is just because it's the first book and she wasn't sure if there was going to be another one. The talk and threat of expulsion is brought up so often in book one. It's almost in every chapter at least once. They're like, oh, well, if you don't do this, you're going to be expelled. And it's like, oh, you seem surprised that we weren't packing our bags and going home tomorrow because of the midnight
You know
duel,
why I
or
think that
because
is
of the
though?
or
I feel
because of
like,
the Quidditch thing, or the Norwegian Ridgeback
yeah, I
thing. It's
feel
like they
like
just
that could
talk
be
about it all the
easily,
time.
but I feel like that could be easily explained with the rationale of like it was Harry's first experience at the school where it was so
Well, yeah.
life-changing for him that that was his biggest fear. Like the same way Hermione was like, we could have been killed or worse, expelled, because like in her world, like that would be the worst thing that could possibly happen. And I feel like it's similar for Harry. Like the worst thing that could happen to him is, finally at this point in his life, he gets to experience something that brings him joy for the first time in his life. He's happy, and like to have that taken away from him after such a short amount of time by either fighting a troll or saving a dragon or whatever the case may be. I mean,
Right, but it's not just
what
Harry that brings it up. Like, Snape says it a couple times. McGonagall says it a couple times.
you
They're just like,
know
if I catch you doing this, I will make sure you are expelled. Like, they just bring it up all the time. And not once in the history, or not in the history, but like not once in the 7 books do we hear about anyone actually getting expelled. Like,
I mean,
besides
Hagrid was
Hagrid,
expelled.
right? Besides Hagrid. But that was for something like egregious. Like they legitimately thought that he had a monster that killed somebody, like death. But
Yeah.
beyond death, all of these other things happen, and no one actually ever gets expelled. And they do some pretty intense stuff there that you would think would result in expulsion. But just the amount of times that it's brought up by students and staff in the first book, like Harry was sure he was going to be on the train home to Hogwarts with all of his stuff, or like, and Snape's like, if you do this again, I will personally make sure that you are expelled. And he says that like in a lot of the other books too.
Yeah.
But it made me giggling, like driving around in my car listening. I'm like, everyone's so worried about getting expelled. Like, what is the deal? And this is a school where like the only one that we know was expelled was Hagrid. It's not like, oh, every year about 4 kids get expelled, so we really got to
And look
worry about
look
this.
what happened to Hagrid. Like he gets expelled, but then he gets to like live permanently at Hogwarts after the fact. So
Yeah.
like, and I feel like that's mentioned. I don't know if it's mentioned in Sorcerer's Stone or if it's like later on, but like I feel like it's mentioned where Harry says like, oh, well, maybe if I get expelled, like I could be Hagrid's assistant or something
Yeah.
like that, and I
Yeah,
could
and then
like
he like
stay
pictures
on and live with
himself like
Hagrid.
he pictures himself like
Yeah.
schlepping around the like
Yeah.
around the grounds with like something on his back, and Hagrid's like
Yeah,
walking ahead of him.
you
Yeah,
never
but
know.
no, so that's not like a make or break. That was just something I really noticed this time is the overemphasis on the threat of expulsion from this school. And Nobody actually gets expelled in the entire 7 books that we read. Like, no current students, which, I don't know. Maybe they should have thrown one in there, like, randomly. Or, like, in passing, like, you hear a lot about, like, Millicent Bulstrode in book 2, and then, like, never again. Or, like, some of those
Yeah.
rando kids that get sorted in this book, that there's
And
names that you
never
just
to be
never
seen
hear again. Like, they never bring it up. Like, they could easily throw it in book 4, like, oh yeah, well, Tiffany, Wettendorf got expelled because she, I don't know, she got caught cheating on her OWLs. Like, they could
Oh
just throw that in
no.
there just to be funny, but they never do.
So ridiculous. No, it has been such a treat, like getting to listen to these and get to re-experience these books and um getting to do it in a way that's the same book but in such a different way. So it's been it's just been awesome. I can't wait for the next one to come out. I'm gonna have
Nor
to
can I.
find something else to listen
I,
to in the
I will
meantime.
say, I think just in like the listening process, if people haven't listened to these yet, headphones are probably the way to go. However, like, there is a lot of like left channel, right channel stereo audio like that we just talked about, and I had it on in the car just so my wife could listen to it, and she was like, "We have to stop this. It's kind of nauseating me." Because there was so much like right ear, left ear, right ear, left ear, and like Peeves was like whoa going all around, and that is true. It's a little more intense than just relaxing on the train listening to someone read a book to you. It's more of
Hmm.
like an experience, like watching a movie.
Yeah.
So it's not so much of something that I would have on in the background as of like, I need to be conscious I'm listening to this. Whereas
Hmm.
like the Jim Dale books, I just throw on in the background sometimes while I'm doing something, and I can, just listen to the book. But this is more of a sit down. So I would recommend headphones. I would recommend maybe not doing a whole bunch while you're doing this. Like, driving would be fine, but like trying to make a cake while listening to this, you'd miss a lot of stuff, because there are like little subtle sound effects that they include that are on purpose that you do have to listen to. Or if someone's whispering, they're actually whispering. It's not like,
Right.
you kind of have to like be quiet and listen, because there's some really quiet audio going on. So that's my recommendation, and it's really, really, I mean, I can't recommend it enough. If you like Harry Potter, absolutely give this a whirl, especially with that 3-month, and we're not sponsored by Audible, but that 3-month 99 cent a month for 3 months trial, like, man, that you can't go
Yeah,
wrong with that.
it's kind of a no-brainer, honestly. Um and not for nothing too, it's not that much more expensive to upgrade your Audible. So you could do something like what I did if you already had an Audible account and you didn't want to commit the next 7 months to only Harry Potter books and you still want to listen to like something different or whatever. Like it's not going to go to waste for me that I upgraded and now I'm getting 2 credits a month. Um and what was cool was I did it on the day that the book was released. So now I get my 2 credits on the 4th every month. So I'll be ready for every time these books come out. So, and yeah, it's not that much more expensive to do that. I think I got rid of my Apple TV subscription and then upgraded Audible. So some girl math, like I would tell you that it's free essentially because I did
Yeah, pretty much. They're paying you essentially.
Essentially,
Yeah.
it's free.
I think we should also briefly mention the artwork for all of these audiobooks has been released, and it's all 7 books. Artwork is out, but it's the first time I've seen this artwork for the cover art for
Yeah.
the
And
books.
I'm sure we'll end up seeing it on covers somewhere. Um I mean, would have been nice to have them release for the US books. Like maybe they'll just do it for like giggles at this point because they don't really have like a huge excuse to do it, or maybe they'll save it for like the 30th anniversary or something like that. But um yeah, I mean, I would love to see these on my shelves at some point. I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will
It's
too. And
it's kind of the same way that like the Pottermore art ended up coming out on like it originally was for audiobooks and then it came out on the regular books after the fact.
yeah.
So
So, I don't know. I think that's kind of all I have to report. I don't want to like go too crazy with it because I really think people should experience it for themselves, especially if you're listening to this podcast, you clearly like Harry Potter books. You should probably listen to it. As far as I know, it's only available in English so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's plans to translate it.
No, and what I think is cool is there are certain nuances that were taken. Like, I don't know if they used the British translation
They
for
did
it.
everything.
Right,
Yeah.
except for the word Sorcerer's Stone. Like, they
Yep.
use Sorcerer's Stone, but everything else, you notice it when like in chapter 1, there's like a reference, and they're saying how like Dudley learned a new word, and in the UK translation, or it's not a translation because it's the original
Yeah.
language, Dudley's new word is shan't, and in the US translation or whatever of it, it's won't. So once I heard that, I was like, ooh, we are
Yeah.
listening to little British books. They also call studying revision.
Yep.
Instead of studying for terms, they say their revision, which I thought that was like really interesting. Like, that stood out to me. And I know, like, there's this show called IT Crowd that came out like a gazillion years ago at this point. Like, I feel like I'm like dating myself, but like, and like the first episode of IT Crowd, like one of the characters, he's like, oh, I got something in the mail. What is it? And he's like, oh, I got the UK version of the Harry Potter book because I need to look to see if there are any differences between this version and this version, which obviously, as translation collectors, we know that there's all sorts of differences just from like one Spanish book to the next. Every single one is going to be different. But looking at a US Harry Potter book versus a UK Harry Potter book, there are all of these differences. And if you've listened to or read the US Harry Potter book a bunch of times, you might pick up on those like little British nuances that are in this audiobook, which is a lot of fun. So
Yeah, it's essentially, if you've read the Jim Kay illustrated Sorcerer's Stone book, which is in its entirety the UK text block, the original text block, with the exception of sorcerers instead of philosophers, it's the same as that. So I don't know how I feel. Like, I almost think they should have just called it Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone,
I wish they did.
and just left it as the UK one. Like why not? Like, nobody at this point is going to like listen to that and be confused because they used the word philosophers instead of sorcerers when they kept all of the other language original to the UK text block. Additionally, you would think it would also like maybe entice some people to listen to it that maybe didn't know all of those nuances that it's changed. Like, the Philosopher's Stone, what's that? I should listen to that. Like, oh, it's the same book. It must be the original version. So, especially because this was an Audible production. Audible is based in Newark, New Jersey. It's an American-made production, but they used all British cast and British text block. So it could have been like a nice kind of,
way to bridge the gap.
Handshake between our two nations to say, hey, we're going to have an American production of the British text block. So I don't know. That's only my thing. I would have been fine if they kept in philosophers, but Sorcerers is okay too.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Great. I'm super, super excited for Chamber of Secrets. I feel like now I have like things in that I'm really looking forward to. Like, we talk all the time about the show. Like, oh, I'm excited for Peeves, or I'm excited for Saint Mungo's to be depicted on the show. I'm excited for whatever. But like, with listening to the dramatized like audiobooks, like in Chamber of Secrets, I can't wait to hear Lockhart. I can't wait to hear
I can't wait for
the
Quidditch. I can't wait for the Quidditch World Cup scene.
Oh, that's gonna be insane.
Like, with all of the other people and all the background noise and all the
leprechauns.
Yeah, I'm just so excited, and like hearing that conversation in the top box with the background Quidditch noise going on, like it seems so perfect that I can't wait. I can't wait for all of it.
Well,
maybe not super excited for the Harry and Cho awkward date at Madame Puttyfoot's. That might be a little awkward.
I don't know. We're gonna have a whole new Harry
We'll-
by that
we'll-
point
we'll
too,
find
which is
out.
exciting. But we'll see. Well, if you want to stay updated with any audiobook news, I'm sure we're going to be talking about it a lot in future episodes. The next time we have Peter on, like, we want to chat with him all about his experience doing the Audible event. Because it was in Newark, Peter was actually like pretty close to me, and he ended up taking the train out to Long Island, and we had dinner together, which was super nice. So I was able to hear from him firsthand about his experience. But he can't wait, and I can't wait for him to be on here telling everybody about his experience. So that would be really cool. So make sure you tune into our future episodes, and you can stay in touch with us and follow along on the Dialogue Alley podcast journey in a whole bunch of ways. You can follow us on social media, All the Pretty Books, Nocturne Erik, the Harry Potter Collection, the Potter Collector, Dialogue Alley Podcast. We have a Dialogue Alley website, which is dialoguealley.com, and on there you can find a couple of cool things. One of them is our resource guide as far as book value and how to determine your US book value, which is incredibly helpful if you're not sure how much your book is worth. We've got you. And the other thing that's on our website is our merch, which we launched relatively recently. I'm actually wearing one of our signature t-shirts right now, which they're like that buttery soft t-shirt. It's also one of like the only places that you can get like something on it that says the Potter Collector, which is really cool because we have like Peter's logo is embedded in our logo. It's awesome. We love our stuff. The quality of everything that we've gotten so far is awesome. I wear like my pullover hoodie at least once a week to work, and I get so many compliments on it. I was telling like Erik and Carly, I went to like an event in the city and I wore it, and people were like stopping me, asking me about it, and it's such a good like conversation starter for like people. They see the pink umbrella, and that's like a recognizable like Harry Potter thing. So like, you know, you can get yourself a Dialogue Alley podcast shirt and wear it around and talk to people about Harry Potter books. So that's on our website, and it'll bring you to all sorts of really cool stuff. If you want even more Dialogue Alley podcast stuff, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Dialogue Alley. That gets you access to our Discord, which is a whole community of other Harry Potter book translation collectors. We're all going to be talking about these new dramatized audiobooks on there, just because we're all such huge fans of Harry Potter. So there's a lot of conversation that goes on our Discord, and it's a great place to start out if you want to be collecting Harry Potter translations. There's a lot of resources there. But for today, that's going to be all we're going to chat about. So it's going to be time to walk back through the archway and into our daily lives, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
See ya.